The crucial moment has arrived in Detroit, and this decision could change everything for the Lions. Stay with me until the end of this exclusive update, because I'll explain every detail behind this major move that could happen. If you're not part of our community yet, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel now, and of course leave a like, because this really strengthens our work and helps this content reach more Detroit Lions fans. Let's go, because there's a lot for us to analyze. Veteran Lions linebacker Alex Anzalone is heading into the most important season of his career, and perhaps the most decisive for the future of Detroit's defense. That's because Anzalone is entering the final year of his contract, a 3-year deal valued at $18 million, and so far there's been no official movement towards his renewal. The detail is that although the Lions have already guaranteed extensions for names like Kirby Joseph, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell, the space within the salary cap is getting tighter and tighter. And now, the inevitable question arises. Does Alex Anzalone deserve a new contract? To understand this situation, we need to look at Anzalone's history with the Lions. He arrived in Detroit in 2021 during the beginning of the Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell era. He initially signed a 1-year contract. In 2022, the team once again invested in his talent for another year, and the results were so satisfactory that in 2023, he received a well-deserved 3-year extension. Since then, Anzalone has established himself as a fundamental part of the team. He has started 57 games in 4 seasons, being one of the leaders not only of the defense, but of the entire locker room. Despite dealing with injuries in some campaigns, he surpassed the 100 tackle mark in both 2022 and 2023, showing consistency and commitment. But it's not just the numbers that make Anzalone stand out. He is the typical player who goes beyond statistics, a defensive captain, a figure respected by all his teammates, and someone who truly embodies the spirit of resilience and evolution that the Lions culture promotes. Just think back to last season. After fracturing his forearm in Week 11, Anzalone returned in Week 18 in a decisive game against the Minnesota Vikings. And it wasn't just his presence on the field that made a difference. The emotional impact and intensity he brought to the defense in that matchup were visible. It was the heart of the defense beating full force again, pushing the team towards the playoffs. Still, the contractual issue is complex. The Lions' payroll for 2026 and beyond is already starting to get tight with the recently renewed contracts. Linebackers coach Sean Dion Hamilton avoided confirming Anzalone's presence at the voluntary workouts, which has raised speculation. However, he made it clear that he sees the veteran as a solid leader for the 2025 season. Anzo is a 4-year captain, a respected leader. It's going to be a big season for him, Hamilton said. This makes it clear that within the franchise, the respect for the number 34 is immense, and his role in the defensive system, where he plays as a will linebacker, is one of the most demanding in terms of reading the game, coverage, and executing. Blitzers, meanwhile, another name is starting to gain prominence behind the scenes in Detroit. Za'Darius Smith, the veteran pass rusher recently released due to salary issues, is a free agent on the market, and the Lions are eyeing a possible reunion. Smith had a short but extremely productive stint with the team after being acquired from the Cleveland Browns. In just 8 games, he had 12 tackles, 4 sacks, and 10 pressures on the quarterback. Solid numbers that added to the evident chemistry with Aiden Hutchinson transformed the Lions' defensive line into a constant threat. Smith has played for 5 different franchises since entering the league in 2015. But it was in Detroit that he seemed to really fit in. His connection to the defensive system, the physical style of play, and the intensity of the locker room perfectly matched his personality. Fans love the Smith and Hutch duo, and the possibility of seeing them together again in 2025 could be the boost this defense needs to take the next step towards the Super Bowl. The competition, however, is strong. Kansas City Chiefs and other teams have already shown interest in the player, and that puts even more pressure on the Lions to act quickly if they really want to count on his return. The key point here is the moment the Lions are living. The franchise is on the rise, consolidating a young and talented base, retaining its key players, and developing a strong identity. And it is in this context that both Anzalone and Smith become important pieces. Rewarding players who represent the team's culture is not only a question of merit, it is also a strategy to keep the locker room united and committed. If the Detroit Lions want to stay at the top of the NFC and seriously aim for the Super Bowl, decisions like these need to be made wisely and with a vision for the future. So the scenario is as follows. Alex Anzalone, with his leadership, commitment, and identification with the project, deserves a renewal. Zadarius Smith, with his ability to pressure quarterbacks and Pro Bowl experience, could be the final reinforcement for a defense that wants to be dominant in 2025. The ball is now in the management's court. And for Lions fans, all that's left is to hope that the right pieces stay in the right place. Because the future, my friends, could be more blue and silver than ever. With Trey Hendrickson's future becoming one of the hottest topics of the NFL offseason, rumors of a potential trade involving the Detroit Lions are starting to gain traction. The Cincinnati Bengals pass rusher, clearly unhappy with his contract situation, has already requested a trade and with each new update seems closer to leaving Ohio. Hendrickson wants a contract close to $40 million per year, a figure that would put him among the highest paid in the league, alongside names like Myles Garrett. For the Bengals, however, trading their star defender will not be easy. The team seems reluctant and the asking price is high in both draft capital and cap space. In this context, the Detroit Lions name has entered the radar of insiders, fans, and analysts as a possible destination for Hendrickson. The reason is clear. Despite the recent defensive growth, the Lions still need more depth in the pass rush, especially after the departure of Zadarius Smith in free agency. And with Aiden Hutchinson establishing himself as one of the NFL's best young edge rushers, an elite partner on the other side of the line could make the Lions front seven a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. In fact, CBS Sports' Cody Benjamin has called the Lions the best option for Hendrickson. But not everyone agrees with this optimistic view. Albert Breer, one of the NFL's most respected insiders, threw cold water on this possibility during his Sports Illustrated column on May 14th. According to him, while the idea makes sense from a technical standpoint, the financial cost would be prohibitive for the Lions. Breer put it bluntly, if you trade for Hendrickson, the amount you pay becomes the benchmark for Hutchinson's contract. That would mean investing more than $70 million a year in two players at the same position, one of whom is already in his 30s. With a young and promising roster, that kind of move could hurt the Lions' financial balance in the long run. In other words, the salary cap hit could jeopardize the Lions' chances of keeping their young core together in the future. It's important to remember that Hendrickson, despite his age, is still one of the most productive edge rushers in the NFL. Since joining the Bengals, he's racked up sacks, pressures, and game-winning plays. The problem is that his desire to re-sign with a mega salary puts pressure on any interested team. The Bengals, in turn, know his value and don't seem willing to let go easily, especially now that the defense is still looking for consistency. All of this creates a stalemate. The player wants to leave, the team wants to maintain control of the situation, and potential interested parties, like the Lions, are hesitant due to the exorbitant costs involved. Ultimately, the reality is that the Lions probably won't invest heavily in Hendrickson. At least not at this point. Detroit's priority is to keep its young core and build a balanced roster, and an aggressive move like this could put all of that at risk. Hutchinson will soon be eligible for a Brinks truck-worthy extension, and having two edge rushers earning superstar pay could hurt the franchise's finances at crucial positions like quarterback, offensive line, and secondary. So while Hendrickson's technical fit is appealing, the financial picture and long-term vision makes such a trade highly unlikely. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below.